A federal government does need staff. We see it acutely in need of staff in a situation like this. This isn't the only crisis we're facing. This is massive, humanitarian. We're also facing a huge crisis with North Korea. I know they have a lot on their hands, but we have to have people in place. If there's a plan to not staff and cause the ultimate shrinkage of government, then let's hear about that as well.
Well, the Fox News contributor Laura Ingraham earlier today insisting that the Trump team needs more staffing in order to effectively tackle the critical crises at hand, both Tropical Storm Harvey and the escalating tensions we've been reporting on with regard to North Korea. Now, the president pushed back on Laura in this tweet. He said earlier, we're not looking to fill all of those positions. Don't need many of them. Reduce the size of government. More now with Madison Gesiotto, who's a Washington Times columnist, also an advisor to the Trump National Diversity Coalition. And Ned Ryan's also with us tonight, American Majority CEO, former presidential writer for George W. Bush. Go first on this, Ned, in terms of whether the administration is ready for everything that's being thrown its way. I mean, there are, to Laura's point, some positions that aren't filled, right? A number of them.
Well, there are. And again, it's understanding that there are certain positions that do need to be filled, but I was a little perplexed by Laura's comments. I mean, the goal is hopefully to reduce the size and scope of government. I mean, that's what we're hoping for, is a government that's limited in size and scope. And if you look back at Trump's inaugural address about devolving power out of D.C. and putting it back into the hands of the American people, it's really about saying we want efficient government, not bloated government. And I would argue right now what we've got is bloated government. So I think Donald Trump is onto the right track. He doesn't want to fill every position that's been filled in the past. That's not the goal. The goal is to find and fill the right positions, not every position. And Connell, I'd actually make the argument, I'd like to see him get aggressive on this. Again, he's got two major crises that he's dealing with, but once we get past these, I'd like him to really think about shutting down some of the departments. For example, Department of Energy. You could easily break that up and put pieces of it into interior.
Not a tough argument now, given everything, you know, given that we're in the middle of a hurricane and coming back from it. And
but I'm saying once you get past this, I'd like him to take this step, shut down a Department of Energy, put pieces of it into interior, pieces of it into DOD, and quite frankly, Connell, implode the building and build a Liberty Park over it. He has to show the American people that he's serious. We are not going to tolerate bloated government anymore. We will have efficient government and devolve the rest of it to the American people.
What's your take, Madison? Are we seeing efficient government, especially in Texas, you know, with the president's response so far to Harvey?
Yeah, you know, Governor Abbott spoke earlier today, and one of the words he used to describe the president and the president's cabinet response to this was effective. He said for 10 days before this hurricane hit land, you know, President Trump and his cabinet members have been in direct contact. They're in constant contact. They're asking, what do you need? How can we help? And, you know, going back to what Laura said, I think it's very important that we have efficient, slim government. We look back at organizations like FEMA, who was in charge of the National Flood Insurance Program during Hurricane Katrina and after Superstorm Sandy. You know, over 650,000 homes were left destroyed after Sandy alone. A lot of these homes were protected by the NFIP. Right. Guess what? Over 2,200 cases ended up in federal court because families were either underpaid or not paid at all by FEMA's NFIP, and it's unacceptable.
Like Laura see it and say, boy, this, to your point, is going to be such a massive operation. It already is, but rebuilding after this is such a massive operation. It's all hands on deck.
Right, and I don't think that the federal government's the only people to rebuild, and that's when we see so many amazing nonprofits and this really sense of community that just has been lacking for so long. People are coming together, they're helping each other, and they're working together to get things done.
What were you about to say, Ned?
No, I was going to say, I mean, let's also remember that Governor Abbott yesterday gave the Trump administration an A+ on its preparation and handling of this crisis. So the thing I would add, though, as we move past this, and, you know, prayers are with the people of Houston that this will end quickly and the waters will stop rising, but Donald Trump is going to have to deal with an issue when Congress comes back into session in regards to the Harvey relief bill. He's going to have to ask that they put a clean Harvey relief bill in front of him and not that kind of pork-laden Sandy relief bill.
Well, there's already talk of linking it, right? There's already talk of linking it. Then
that is not a good solution because the fact of the matter is Donald Trump needs to call out the GOP leadership and the GOP establishment and say, you are not going to put your pet projects in front of the people of Houston. So I'd strongly encourage Trump to get ahead of that.